What's this? A letter for me.
Welcome to another episode of Remember the Great Sports. Today I am going to open 3 envelopes through my Through the Mail Thursdays video here, and I'm going to probably be sharing with you some vintage baseball autographs. I've mentioned in a couple other videos, or some videos that may be coming up, I really have gone hog wild, so to speak, with writing really old vintage players from the 1950s, 60s, and 70s. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. I'm not going to show them all consecutively. I'm going to try to kind of mix things together, so I'm not showing you guys from the 50s every week in a row. So that's what I like to do on my channel, to kind of break up the monotony, so to speak. So the first envelope I'm going to open here is a gentleman that I actually have written already before and shared on this channel, one of my very first videos, and I will post that down in the description as well. And this is, I picked this card up in particular and a lot of cards, and I had some extras laying around, and this is a all-time great Yankees legend, and that is former infielder Billy Gardner on 1. A New York Yankees pinstripes card, 2. A vintage 61. And a 4th one as a Yankee as well. So, anyways, like I said, I have written Mr. Gardner in the past. I sent him newer cards. He was a manager after he was a player. He has a 87 Topps Traded, I want to say. So if you have the 87 Topps Traded set, he does appear in that set as the Royals manager. He was not at the helm as the Royals manager very long. It was more of kind of like an interim thing after the passing of Dick Howser, is why he agreed to do it. Previous to managing the Royals, though, he was the manager of the Minnesota Twins. So he's been in baseball for quite a while. He is one of those lifers in baseball. He played for the New York Giants, the Baltimore Orioles, the Washington Senators, the Minnesota Twins, the New York Yankees, and also the Boston Red Sox. So he's one of those unique guys that played for both the Yankees in pinstripes and also the Red Sox. He had some pretty solid years. He won a couple World Series. He won one with the Giants, and he also won one with the Yankees. So he does have 2 World Series rings to his credit. He played for many years. Then he went into the coaching ranks, coaching, as a first base coach, that type of thing. I want to say that maybe he worked in some scouting, for some front offices. I may be incorrect there, but this is one of those rare birds. I don't mean that as a negative thing. A rare person that they had the opportunity to have a career in baseball. And that would be, many people dream of being a Major League Baseball player. But could you imagine if you could spend, 10 seasons in the majors and then get to work for another 30, in baseball? Whether that's being a manager, whether that's being a coach, in the front office, being a scout, whatever. I mean, if you could devote your life to the game, that would be, the blessing that I would dream of, not just being a Major League Baseball player, but after my career. Being able to contribute to the game, for so many years. And that's what Billy Gardner is. Billy Gardner, not to be confused, just so in case you do decide to write him, there is a Billy Gardner Jr. that also played, which is Billy Gardner Sr.'s son. However, he spent most of his time in the minor leagues, and I believe Billy Gardner Jr. also is a minor league manager. I don't think to this point he's coached at the major league level. I may be incorrect there, but Billy Gardner Jr. is still very active, I believe, in coaching and working, in baseball. So, thank you, Mr. Gardner. Again, this is the second time I've written him in the last year. But being I came across this Yankees set, I wanted to get him to sign that because I also had that 61 Yankees postcard, if you guys recall. And again, you can watch that video. I'll link it at the end and in the description below. So this next one, if I am correct, and I am, is one of the actual oldest living Major League Baseball players at the time of me filming this. There may be a couple others that are older, but you know, when you're in your mid-90s, tomorrow's a different day. Let's just put it that way. And I'm very super happy to get these two autographs from this gentleman. As of me shooting this video, he's 95 years old. And he was nice enough to sign 1 and 2 1958 Topps. And this is Charlie Tim Thompson. He also goes by Charlie Thompson. So there are, you know, not to be confused, that's the same guy, Charlie Tim Thompson. Most of his cards refer to him as Tim, but not only did he sign these two cards, but he also signed my indexes that I had protecting the cards. So Tim Thompson, the catcher, is 95 years young as of me shooting this video. So let's talk about Tim Thompson. In 1954, Tim Thompson came up with the Brooklyn Dodgers and caught 10 games at the age of 30 years old. 1954 was this guy's rookie season at 30 years old. So he was an old rookie to begin with. After the 54 season, I don't have stats for 55. I'm going to assume he was in a minor league capacity somewhere. But in 1956 and 1957, he was given the opportunity to play for the now defunct Kansas City Athletics, who are now the Oakland Athletics. And he caught in 92 games and 81 games for the A's those 2 years. After the 57 season, he spent the 58 season with the Detroit Tigers. And that is the last season stats that I have him as a major leaguer. He caught in 4 games in 1958. I'm not sure if he played beyond that. If he did, it was in the minor leagues. So Tim Thompson appeared in a total of 187 games over the course of 4 seasons with the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Kansas City A's, and the Detroit Tigers. And I am so thankful that I had the opportunity to get Mr. Thompson to sign these. I've had one card of Mr. Thompson for a long time, and the last card show I went to, I went out of my way to find a second, so I had 2 to send him. And like I said, I put the protector index cards around there. So thank you so much, Mr. Thompson, for taking your time in your later years to sign these autographs for me, because I can understand why you wouldn't be able to do so at this point in your life. Alright, so the final gentleman that I'm going to share with you is postmarked from Texas. And I have a question, if anybody knows this out here, about this gentleman. And this is also a gentleman in his 90s. And this is former Philadelphia Phillies manager / Texas Rangers manager on 1, 2, 3, and 4, the 88 Topps, Mr. Frank Lucchesi. Mr. Lucchesi, I believe, is one of the few major league managers that never played in the major leagues. Very rarely do you see somebody that doesn't have some major league time that also becomes a major league manager. However, it still shows that if you're a smart baseball person, it doesn't matter if you're a major leaguer or not, you can be an effective manager at the major league level. More recently, a person that I want to point out is, and I might throw a picture up of him really quick, is Mike Schilt of the St. Louis Cardinals. He had been with the Cardinals organization. I've personally met him. for many years. We're talking 15 plus as a minor league coach. I think he was a minor league player. Maybe he played collegiately. I'm not sure. But he worked his way up all the way from rookie ball as a manager all the way to the major leagues as the current manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. When they let Mike Matheny go last year, Mike Shildt was the bench coach, I believe, and they just promoted Mike Shildt from the bench coach to Mike Matheny's position as the manager. And going into the 2019 season, the Cardinals announced that Mr. Shildt would be the full-time manager of the Cardinals. So even in today's game, the point I'm trying to make in 2019, if you're a smart baseball man, you will have an opportunity to manage at the major league level given the right opportunities throughout your career. So Mr. Shildt is a very humble man. I've had the opportunity to talk to him a couple times. When he was coming up through the minor league ranks as a manager, always took the time to sign autographs. He never refused me once. I mean, he always was more than obliging to, take the time to sign. Frank Lucchesi started playing and coaching way back in 1951, I believe. He started his coaching career in the 50s, okay? So that tells me that he spent about 20 years in the minor leagues, and being an assistant coach before he got his opportunity to be a full-fledged manager with the Philadelphia Phillies. After his time with the Phillies, he went back to Texas, to the Texas Rangers. I believe he's from Texas, so he got to manage in his home state. Then after his time with the Rangers, he started working with the Cubs. Well, during the 1987 or 88 season, I'm sorry if I don't have my numbers right, the Cubs decided to part ways with their current manager, and Frank Lucchesi basically took over the helm for the last month of the season before the Cubs hired Don Zimmer to be their manager the following season. So I don't think Lucchesi wanted to be a manager of the Cubs. He was just the guy with the most baseball experience and management experience working for the Cubs at the time. So he took the job on for a couple months, or for a month or whatever until they found his replacement, which eventually became Don Zimmer. So anyways, I have gotten Mr. Lucchesi in the past. The question that I want to pose to some of the viewers is I wonder if Joey Lucchesi of the San Diego Padres is any relation. I met Joey Lucchesi one time when he was coming up through the minor leagues, and I did not ask that question, and I regret not doing so. Joey was one of those guys that was a really nice guy. Took time to sign an autograph, no problem. But I just wish I would have said, "Hey, Joey, are you, related to Frank?" Because that would be cool, because I have Frank's autograph. But Frank is now 91 years old. You can kind of see at this top right card that he struggled a little bit to sign that card. I want to say that I've written Frank in the past, and he's signed some cards in ballpoint pen for me, if my memory serves me right. And I want to say that those autographs were a little bit nicer than the ones that he gave to me now. So it tells me that he might have a difficult time signing autographs now. All of the gentlemen that I shared with you are now in their 90s. So if you are wanting to add Mr. Lucchesi, Mr. Gardner, or Mr. Thompson, to your collection, I would recommend that you write them sooner than later, because there may come a day that they won't be able to sign for you anymore. And I'm not saying because they'll pass away, but because they physically will not be able to sign. Their arthritis or whatever. I mean, I just ask you, if you do write any of these gentlemen, that you're very cordial and courteous and very patient, because just imagine some of your relatives that may be in their 90s now. You can't expect a whole lot of somebody that's at that age of their life. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this video. These are some really, really cool retro autographs. Going back to some players. I mean, Brooklyn Dodgers. I mean, this is amazing that you can still get a Brooklyn Dodgers autograph. So, and to get some of these guys to add to your collection, you know, from the 61 Yankees, you know, I wouldn't wait around to get them. I get them while you can. So thanks for watching. Look forward to your comments below, and hope you enjoyed the video.